More Americans are working today than at any time in the history of our country, and we've created over 32,000 new jobs just starting in Pennsylvania alone. And in the last few months alone, we've added 2,600 Pennsylvania manufacturing jobs, and that number is going to go much, much higher as the factories start to open.
President Trump pitching Pennsylvania voters on the economy as he looks to boost Republican candidates this fall and keep the GOP's majority in Congress. He's highlighting America's job gains, saying his administration has attracted massive business investment, which will turn into high-paying, critical manufacturing jobs in the future. Taylor, you kind of led us in this direction last block on manufacturing employment. I guess it depends on the stat you're looking at and the time frame. But you were alluding to the fact that manufacturing employment has actually been going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I mean, the overall headline numbers were good when I was talking about global manufacturing. And prices paid have come down, which is good. But my worry was the factory jobs, which we're looking at some of the most cuts that we haven't seen since 2009. But Brian, I think you're right. This is good news. I don't want to be all Debbie Downer here. My worry is that the latest surge in manufacturing is inventory restocking from the big losses that we've seen, whether it was from tariffs or the closure of the Strait. So you have people trying to restock, but how sustainable is that in the future? I love onshoring. I love reshoring. I love the big, beautiful bill and the tax incentives for the factory floors, the 100% expensing. I just want to make sure it's here to stay, and that when you get the socialist in town in 2 years, they don't cut all of that away.
But that S&P PMI number from yesterday, though, that was a fourth sequential increase. So it's not restocking from the last couple of months. These are four, above 50 is good. 55.7 shattered all of Wall Street's estimates. We are well ahead of the pace that anyone thought we would be at right now. This is a check. This is a gargantuan positive. And I think what President Trump said there, you have to take note. We're still in the process of building some of these things out. Some of these, you know, these massive the data centers and the factories, and you know, if people who live near them are just amazed at the size and of them. And it's a really a phenomenal story that I think is going to just gain more and more strength. The reindustrialization is important. Jackie, you mentioned a couple of things, but it's important for our survival. You know, we have to be able, even with this AI thing, China has benefited so much. They've sent billions of dollars because we got rid of all the tiny little components. You know, when you build a data center, you've got to put a lot of little things in there that look like boring businesses that we said, let China do it, as we hollowed out middle America. You know, every screw, every nugget, everything, every bolt, every spring, all of those things, if we can do them here, forget about it. And here's the thing, people say, well, it's going to cost more. It costs more initially, but as you have, as you do more of it here, and the demand for it goes here, demand will go up and the price will go down. It's just the initial investment and belief that we've got to have that is critical for our survival, to be the preeminent nation in the world, and to be prosperous.
Yeah, as we talk it out, I'm more and more convinced that this is a win-win no matter how you slice it. With respect to the jobs, even if there's a split between robot jobs and human jobs, as long as you're adding factories, you're still going to be adding human jobs. So I think net-net, this is a positive. And of course, taking the power away from China, this is the biggest part of that. The same way President Trump was able to take the power away from the situation in the Middle East and the oil producers there and Iran to allow oil not to spike to crazy levels during this conflict because we were producing here. You also gain a national security leverage with China when you've got your manufacturing and your supply chains back here at home, because they lose their leverage, they lose their power as a result of that. So I love seeing him in Pennsylvania talking to people. You know, I also think back to Joe Biden when he was, you know, killing all of those energy jobs and saying, we're going to replace them. We're going to replace them with green energy jobs that never came. This is a manufacturing revival. And for people who are trained in AI and can then, you know, manage those parts of that kind of manufacturing facility, that's creating a job that wasn't there before. So I think it's awesome.
You've been on these factory floors. You've been in these places. And you've talked to the people who have gone from working in this part of the factory to a different role as technology has come in. How do they feel about all this?
I have spoken to people who used to do the job of the robot, and now they're helping to make and manage the robot that is doing their old job and making 4 times as much money in the process. That is a real story that is playing out. That is very encouraging because that employee knew, okay, it's time for me to what they call upskill in the industry. You were talking about leverage, Jackie. I think the biggest political leverage that Trump has by talking about affordability and jobs, he's doing it in Pennsylvania, the largest electoral prize there is, 19 votes. Pennsylvania is a mix of rural, urban, Latino, working class, and he's helping to sell the message for Republicans for November that, hey, Democrats are going to try to flip all these seats. This is what we're doing. You're becoming the party of commie and crazy, but we're the party of affordability, of new jobs, of old jobs, whether they're making the traditional truck, whatever. We're the party of jobs.
Can I add one quick thing? As he's messaging this way in a battleground state like Pennsylvania, we've also got gas at $3.92.
Yes.
It's down a dime from last week, but it's under that critical 4 handle in the national average, and it's even cheaper in other places with oil at 70. So if that part of this Iran plan continues, Taylor, when you mentioned that there's a possible chance for Republicans to sweep here, to beat the crazies, maybe it is possible.
You know what he does, little thing that he does when he goes on these things that I think is great? He goes into Pennsylvania and he talks about coal. Glowingly. Not we've got to get away from coal, but how wonderful.
Clean coal.
We visited a town in Pennsylvania last year with the family, Emlenton, Pennsylvania. Used to be a big oil producing Quaker state was there. And it was a fascinating tour of this town. And the one thing the whole family kind of took away was it felt like a place that was left behind by people who thought they were too sophisticated for what this town did. And Trump walks in there and says, I love coal, and I know you do too, because it's good for all of us. And that, to me, is a winner.